Today on Honestly, Dear Listener, we're talking to our friend who's been on before, actually, on this very podcast, Sarah Mount. She is a saxophonist, an amazing human being, a singer, and an activist.
And she's on the show today to talk to us about
Perimenopause
we're two childhood best friends talking about creative mindset.
and perimenopause.
I'm Emily Hatch.
And I'm Carrie Schaefer, and this is Honestly, Dear Listener.
Honestly, dear listener.
Woo!
Sarah Mount.
Welcome back, Sarah.
Yes, it's so good to be back.
Yay!
Yay,
It's
thank
so
you for
good to
having
have
me.
you back.
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely.
Well, how you been this past few months?
Been great, just living the dream.
Lots of changes.
Lots of changes. I got
Mhm.
married.
Yeah.
So excited.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
What a good dude. I was
Yeah.
there for the proposal. It was magical.
Yeah, it was
And the
pretty
wedding.
magical.
And the
And the
wedding.
wedding. Yeah,
Mhm.
it was amazing.
And her husband wrote a song for her. And right after the proposal, we all sang this. It was just not sang. We all played and I sang the song. It was, just
It was
magical.
so sweet. It was really,
sweet,
really sweet.
babe.
Yeah.
The wedding was
Nice.
beautiful.
Thank you
That's
so much.
awesome.
So good.
Yeah, it was
thanks
dream
Congrats.
come true.
Thanks
Yeah.
for having me. You guys are a little angel couple. That's what.
Oh, we appreciate that so much. Yeah, we're
So,
very
Sarah, last time we had you on, I'm looking at our episode list. It was nearly a year. It was December 1st of 2023. And we talked about boundaries in the music industry.
Yes.
Gosh, that feels like forever ago.
It
And
does.
also it was yesterday.
Yep,
Mm.
at the same time. Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And for all of our listeners, we'll be putting that link in the show notes to that our first time we talked to Sarah. So you're not missing out on a thing. You can hear all of her Sarah goodness. Today we're talking about, is it perimenopause?
Yeah.
Menopause?
Yeah.
All of those fun things.
All the fun
Here's
things.
the deal. I want to make an age joke, but that kind of makes me a little sad because I sincerely want to be like, actually, it's just getting better all the time. Every decade is better and better and better. But it's so common to be like, oh, over the hill, and kind of to make fun of yourself. And I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I agree. I'm trying to, I have a problem kind of making fun of myself sometimes, even.
Oh, I think
And-
that's fine.
Yeah, just a little bit. I'm trying to be more kind and patient and just remind myself that, aging is a blessing and,
Mhm.
what's the opposite? You know what I mean? So we're
Mhm.
Yeah.
here. We're lucky. We're lucky to be here. Getting older. A lot of people don't have that opportunity and that honor. So yeah, kind of holding that space for that. But also being real about how obnoxious it can be,
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Yeah, there's a lot of very interesting contradictory things happening and it's amazing. It feels amazing. I know exactly who I am, exactly what I want, but my body's like,
Yep.
girl, you cannot do stuff like the way you used to, and now that I know myself, I really want to, put myself out there more, but my body and my mind sometimes gets tired more easily. There's just a lot of obnoxious stuff about it too.
I mean, do you remember when you were in college or the college years and it was like, I'll stay out till 3, I'll do all this thing. And then you bounce back the next day, like nothing ever happened. I could never do that now.
Oh yeah,
Mm.
no, I totally all the time. I'm like, this cannot be the same body that used to party all night and go snowboarding all day. You know what I mean? How
Mhm.
is this possible? Even, I've been doing this for almost 15 years, and I think back to when I met Emily in our wedding band, and we were playing so many shows and back to back to back. And even now, I'm like, man, how did I do that? That was only 5 years ago. That was 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I
Oh.
remember you one of the trips, we went to bed at 1 and we weren't
Yeah.
even hanging out that long. And then you got up at 5
Oh,
and
Lord.
drove home 2.5 hours because you had a show. We're the same age. And I was like, girl, bye. Like I
Yeah,
was
like,
like,
I'm sleeping in. Oh my god.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Even that stuff, I, like, find myself not being able to do that, as much anymore, or, like, really feeling the repercussions.
Mm.
You
Yep.
know, like, if I do that, then I'm basically useless at this next gig, and it's kinda not
Mhm.
fair to
Or
me
you
or
get
the person.
sick.
Yep.
I don't know if you guys have that. It's like if I'm up all night, I used to be able to take red eye flights
Oh, Lord,
and be
yeah.
like, okay,
No.
I'll like get a few hours of sleep. And then 2 days later now, I'm sick. My
Yeah.
immune system
Mhm.
is just like, nope, we're done. So,
Yeah.
Yep.
uh, bummers. But also like much wiser, I suppose, right?
The wiser
It's
part's
like,
great. That part's
yeah.
awesome. Like, my
Isn't
yeah. My, emotions and my just how I'm handling myself is, like, really great. I'm super proud of that, but now I don't have the energy to put it out there anymore. So it's kinda like, "Dang it." Oh.
Well, it's so ironic that, when you feel like hell emotionally when you're in your teens and 20s, like, who am I? I don't have a freaking clue.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then your body's all like, let's go. And then it just totally switches places. And I wish there was a time in your life when you felt good mentally and physically. And I mean, you'd be unstoppable. Maybe that's too much to ask because the
mm,
universe would be like, that's too successful. That's too we're ready to go. We need to
Yeah.
like rein them in a little bit.
You know what? I blame COVID. I blame COVID. Those were the
ugh,
years where that trifecta, like, where it came together and all the stars aligned, and then COVID. I blame that.
Yep.
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Damn
That
COVID.
was like 36, something like
Yep,
that, where it's
yep,
like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
all the wisdom and still the energy.
yep.
Yeah. Uh,
Yep.
And then
they
there's
say
the
the youth
ground.
is wasted on the young.
It
And
is.
I actually agree with that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if we had all the wisdom, like, could we probably would still be just like running our asses off being idiots, being like, I'm smart now. I don't know. Uh,
We
Right.
probably would. I mean, I see my students, my high schoolers, and man, they're crazy. And I'm like, yeah, I remember. I remember when it was like that. So I get it. I get it. It's for
Yep.
sure.
so Carrie's been trying to talk me into, even on the podcast, like talk me into, well, it's because we're perimenopausal. And I've been like, mad. Um, I'm like, you might be, I'm not. Uh,
Because I'm so much older than you.
no, but I'm
Oh,
like, everyone experiences it differently. Stop trying to make me into a person who's doing this. But I am. And
Mhm.
so Sarah and I had the idea to have her back on the podcast at her wedding reception when we started talking about the weird shit that we're both going through.
yeah.
And then I was like, okay, Carrie keeps being like, that's perimenopause. And I'm like, stop. So I think we mentioned things like my nose itches.
Yeah. Yeah. My nose is
Like
so itchy.
Yep.
in the night. I'm just like, yeah.
God, my
So,
neck skin is like, I feel like Dave Chappelle. I'm just like scratching always and just like dry skin. And I literally put on just like Vaseline on my face, just straight up, just put in nothing. Just, oh, it's terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah.
I get my nails painted just like a regular manicure by the lady down the street who is so great, and she's like 54 but she looks like she's 30. I don't know how. And she was putting lotion on my hands and she's like, "Senorita, your hands are so dry." And I'm like,
Oh,
Sorry.
no.
Yeah. Oh my God. I feel that.
yeah,
Oh.
Carrie was like, I kept being like, right here on my head, just
Mhm.
right at the center itches. And she's like, that's perimenopause. And I'm like, you're lying.
Everything itches, y'all. And
Yeah.
I don't live in a dry biome anymore, although it's more dry this time of year. Also, my ears, the inside of my
The
ears
inside
itch,
here.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
and the
100%.
back of my ears itch. Like I'm
Yes.
constantly like pawing at them.
Yes. Yep.
It's just not ideal. And my scalp. So, yeah, I just think it's all because I don't remember itching like this when I was
No,
in my
absolutely not.
30s.
I know for a fact, like, especially like right here and right around my mouth is so dry, and I've never had that problem. I've never
Mhm.
also like slathered Vaseline all over my face and still not, helped or anything. It's crazy.
Mhm. You know
Yeah.
what's the wildest one that's happened to me is for about a year, I had what's called burning tongue.
Oh.
And it's where your tongue consistently feels like it's been burned. Like you just drank a whole mug full of scalding hot
Oh,
tea
that sounds awful.
Mm.
for an entire year. And they did everything. They were like giving me this magic antibiotic mouthwash and like all this stuff. I could not get rid of it. And after a year, a whole year, it finally went away.
Okay, was it like
Whoa.
mid to
It,
front and
uh
on the
huh.
side?
Have you had that?
I had
Oh,
was it
no.
cracky kind of? And it like hurt?
It didn't feel cracky. It just felt like my taste buds were like, ow.
I had
Oh,
like a very short period of time. They're like right here
Uh-huh.
on the front of my tongue hurt. And if I did this, it was like
Uh-huh.
little crackies in my tongue, like it hurt.
wow.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay.
Awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
Not to mention the probably an easy 20 pounds of weight gain
Mhm.
that I've
Mm.
gained in the past like 5 years.
Yeah, oh, I definitely have noticed my body is like softer and rounder. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
like my shape to belly, my it's like everything that had curves moved kind of toward the curve of the front,
yes.
you
Yeah,
know,
like
and
everything's
not
Yep.
like my
forward.
boobs. Yeah, everything's just
Mm-hmm.
like, shall we gather at your belly? Like, what are we doing? Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I guess we're having a meeting. Oh
Do
my
y'all
god.
what did y'all do? Because somewhere in my brain, I'm like, okay, so I'm going to lose all this weight and I'll be like how I was before. Of course I am. But then, so I keep all my clothes that I can't even get my big toe into. And I don't buy new ones. So I'm just stuck wearing the same pajama pants and looking at clothes from when I still had the body of a girl.
Sarah, what have you done? I feel like you also, when I look at you, PS, I don't see a big change. Like, I don't know. So I'm
Oh,
like,
thank you.
I really don't see a change at all. So I was going to be like, what did
um
you do? But I just don't see that there's like, have you had to adjust?
I have not had to buy new clothes. I can just feel that they fit differently. I can still get in them. I can still wear them comfortably. But they're just fitting differently. They're just like tight in places that they didn't used to be. And the
Mm.
scale hasn't even really moved that much for me, but we're all like also I have like the most god awful periods on the face of the planet. So there's like
Mm.
different ways that I think that people experience this whole time in life. But, I do also have a husky and she requires 3 to 5 miles a day.
That's good.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that is the thing, and it helps a lot, and I appreciate that. So I mean, if she doesn't, she's just won't let you sleep. She's so annoying, and she'll let you know that she did not get a workout in. So
Mm.
that's kind of been very very helpful. It's yeah. So I do a lot of walking. I
Mm.
do work out. Try to work out every day, but you know how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
But that's pretty much it. I mean, yeah, again, we all kind of have different symptoms. My skin is definitely one of the really big ones is that I am getting like show-stopping anxiety out of nowhere. Like hit
Mm.
in the belly for absolutely no reason at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like something god awful just happened or is happening and just the fight or flight type level of like cortisol shot to my system, and it's just out of
Mhm.
nowhere, and it's horrible. It feels awful. It feels doomy. You know what I mean?
Ooh.
Yeah.
And nothing's changed in your life as far as, like, nothing bad
No,
happened or
no.
anything?
I
Okay.
honestly like my life's sometimes I it's like a pinch me type situation. Things are going so well most of the time here. It's like literally I'm usually even having like happy thoughts or like in a happy moment and just driving along and then all of a sudden just my stomach will drop. Like you just got the
Whoa.
worst news of your life level. And so
Whoa.
that's kind of something that I'm struggling with a lot because it like
Mhm.
makes your heart beat fast and then I can't breathe. It's like really, that's what actually initially brought me into the gynecologist to let me know. I didn't even really know about perimenopause, which, by the way, is why I'm here because I don't think it's right that I had to reach the age of perimenopause to find out about it. Like, why aren't we talking about this? Why is women's health
Mm.
so like taboo? This is ridiculous. Absolutely
Mhm.
absurd,
Mhm.
you
Same.
know?
I mean, I think I heard the word perimenopause from Carrie. So I think we could call
Yeah.
it Carrie menopause is
Carrie's like, I don't know about
Ah.
don't blame it on me. No, for
but
real though. That's
yeah.
absurd. How have we not known about this? You know? That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
So that's what initially brought me into the doctor because I was just like, look, all these things are happening. It's really strange. And I don't know, like, is it cancer? Because, that's kind of like your thought process a lot of the times is like worst case scenario. And yeah, she was like, no, you're due for your mammogram, which by the way sucks. Have you guys gotten your mammogram yet?
Mhm.
I
You're
haven't yet.
okay, so mammograms every year now, I think it used to be, I want to say 45 or 50 that you needed to start having them annually. Now it's 40.
It's 40.
So all of our 40-year-old babes
Yeah,
need to go out.
go get your ladies checked for real. It
Yes,
sucks.
mammogram.
But
Yeah.
yes, ma'am. Oh, gram. No, for real, you got to do it. That's the only way to if if something, God forsake is going on, that's the only way that, catch it early kind of stuff. It's not good to ignore things. So,
Well, and really quickly, I'm sorry. I have to put this in here because it freaked me the hell out. This summer I had my first mammogram and they found something. So then they call you and they're like, "We found something." And I was like, "And I'm dying.
yep.
I am
Yep.
dying." So cue the panic, cue all of that. Cue all of the like, "Well, I guess my kids are just going to have to not have a mom." Like all this stuff. And I went back, I got the second one where they further go in there and check things out and they were like, "No, you're fine." And I was like, all of that worry, and it's a staggering number of women can get a false positive on these tests. And we found something does not mean you have cancer. It means, oh, we want to just take a second look at this. It's
Yeah.
probably nothing. More often than not, it's nothing. But I just want to save y'all the panic of that, that like, don't do what I did. I just didn't know. So now you know.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Carrie.
Sarah.
I know. I'm so glad you brought that up because I actually had this very similar experience. Yep, I had my first mammogram, and mine's all online. So I got my thing back, and it said abnormal, and I was like,
Oh, Lord.
and I
Mhm.
just, yeah, I immediately thought like, okay, well, this is it. I guess I'll just like, shuffle off the earth now. Like that's because again, we are not surrounded by information, and so
Mhm.
I find comfort in like looking up as much information as possible. So I'm sitting there Googling,
Mhm.
like, what's an abnormal read on a mammogram mean and all these things. And like, if the facts check out, most women who have an abnormal read like that, like, it's fine. It's like less than 1 in 10. It ends up being
Mhm.
cancer. So I just found out all this information. I went back, I got my ultrasound. It's just some dense tissue. And they were like,
Mhm.
yeah, you're totally fine. We'll recheck it in 6 months just to make sure. But it's just probably since it's your first mammogram, it's probably just the way your boobs are. It's probably just
Mm.
Right.
how it is, and like,
You got that little lump in
yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, like the dense tissue thing, I guess it does kick up your chances of having breast cancer a little bit.
Mhm.
But it's still totally normal, totally okay. doesn't mean that you're going to get breast cancer. It just means that your boobs are not symmetrical, like on the
Yes.
inside. There's just a little bit of like denser tissue on one side or the other. But, again, without knowing that or with not even knowing that, because like my doctor was like, it's probably, hormonal changes will also kind of like make your tissue a little more dense sometimes. So there's a lot of things, there's a lot of factors. So,
Yep.
without knowing that, it's just like freak out mode. So, ladies, don't freak out. Just do
Yep.
it. It's going to be okay.
Just go take your boobs out.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh my
Um,
God. It's
I
awful.
haven't
Yes.
don't freak out, just tits out.
Just tits out.
I haven't done it because I got my checkup in New York at 39, and the lady who is my doctor now was very much like your aunt who's just like, "Oh, you're fine. I think you're fine." Like, "You're 39. It's not till 40. You're fine." And I'm like, "I have anxiety and it's really bad." And she's like, "Who doesn't?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
okay. I think I need to see someone. Like, I've had anxiety my whole life, but like, I feel like I'm gonna fall down. I'm like
Mm.
really not well. And that's another thing Sarah and I talked about at the wedding reception.
Yeah.
Yay, happy times. But yeah, she's like, "Well, I can refer you to someone." I'm like, "Could you not have been like, maybe because you're 39, like you're having some kind of hormonal whatever." So anyway, I haven't been yet. Um, but I do have a coworker that I worked with years ago who just passed away from breast cancer. And then Carrie and I
Mm.
had a friend who was diagnosed with just in air quotes stage 1, but she had gotten checked right at 40 also. So I'm like, I'm ready to just be like, smash these boobs.
Yeah. Just
Because a while
smash.
back I had a doctor be like, "You're kind of cystic in here."
Oh, gosh.
I'm like,
Cystic?
"Thank you." And that's
Yeah.
that's really like what you want to hear when someone's touching your boobs.
Yeah.
Right?
Thank you
Oh,
so
you
much,
feel
doctor.
you feel a little cystic, like
Gosh.
pretty hot.
Oh, was it a guy?
No, it was a girl.
Was it?
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever had a male gynecologist before?
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole level,
Uh-huh.
a different level of weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want a lady. I just really do.
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
just all of my I just ugh.
Yeah.
I mean, no offense to all the male gynecologists out there, but like something in my nervous system is like, nope,
Same.
sorry.
I've had
Same.
really bad experiences with a couple male gynecologists I had. Just like very insensitive and
Ooh.
That's
yeah. So I'm not
kinda same. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Just their words hit maybe it's their words hit differently, like, maybe if it came from a woman, it'd feel different, but definitely
Mhm.
that's why I asked if I was a guy because it sounds like something a man gynecologist would say, like, "Oh, it feels a little cystic." You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
I mean, she did take good care of everything. She
Yeah,
was very,
totally.
but I mean, a little trauma dump here. Like one of the two dudes that ever examined me, w- he like, it was after I had a kid. I was in a lot of pain, and now I'm seeing I probably should have gotten like pelvic floor therapy because I had a really traumatic labor. He put his thumb in my butt
oh
with no
shoot.
warning and no
Oh.
lube.
What?
He just went like
No.
bonk into my butthole. And I was like 20 years old. And he goes,
Mm-mm.
"You probably just have hemorrhoids. You're fine."
What?
And now I'm like, that's kind of assaulty.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A
Yeah.
hundred
And
definitely.
percent.
and then he was just
100%.
like, "I'm sure you're fine."
What?
And that was it. Yeah.
Screw that dude.
Don't
Yeah.
So
yeah, for
insensitive.
real.
Yeah, I was really fucked up.
Jeez. I'm
Yeah.
sorry,
And
Oh.
Emily.
actually, since then, I've had like other exams and been like, "I'm in pain. I don't know what's wrong. Here's what happens. Like, I have this pain. It feels like this here and like this here." And they've been like, "I don't know." And all I had to do like 2 years ago was Google it. It's pelvic floor muscles from a traumatic labor.
Yeah.
You dicks.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
what?
yeah.
Anyway.
That's
Yeah.
kind of what I mean when I say like women's health is super taboo. There's a lot of science behind that, a lot of that type of stuff, and a lot of, the women's health is not funded at all. I think it gets like a tenth of the funding that men's health gets, and like we basically women have only been included in clinical studies for like the last maybe 20 years. I mean, it's
Oh,
like
wow.
yeah, like we were teenagers by the time that people actually started. And the reason that scientists didn't include women in their studies is because the hormonal fluctuations are so severe, during the month cycle. And it's like, well, yeah, that's why women need to be studied. That's exactly why. But it's just
Right.
basically lazy, just like, well, it's hard, so we're just gonna not. And so we're left with
Ugh.
that. We're kind of living out the consequences of just like abandonment and just ignoring. And
Mhm.
so yeah, like shrugs, I don't know, or
Women
just
are just crazy. Take their uterus out and they'll
yeah,
be
yeah,
fine.
that stuff.
Yep.
It was not that long ago, by the way, that like women weren't allowed to travel by car or train because they thought like when you like hard stop that your uterus would like fly through your body. I mean, there's like
Mhm.
ridiculous stuff, and it was
Mhm.
not that long ago. That was only like
Yeah.
within the last 100 years. It's kind of
W
wild. Yeah, I know, right?
That's
Like
so stupid.
Yeah, well,
so
what I
stupid.
mean, wait, I got like a lot of kickback, I guess you not kickback. I got shit on the internet a while back for being like, that they were like hysterectomy, like take out the hysteria. They just would call like anytime a woman had any reaction to anything, they thought it was their uterus being displaced, probably from a
Mhm.
car ride. And then
Yeah.
they would just be like hysterectomy because they called it hysteria. Like anything we couldn't solve for women was take out their uterus
Oh my
because
god.
that's what
Yeah.
causes the problem because we can't monitor it. It's like,
Yeah.
and not much has changed.
No, unfortunately not. And honest, I'm gonna plug a podcast for you ladies. I don't know if you are into political stuff. It's like somewhat political, somewhat lifestyle, but it's called Hysteria. And it's two
Mm.
women who are on different political spectrums who are basically
Whoa.
discussing politics, but they do agree. I mean, like, we're all humans after all. And at the end of the day, typically we do agree more than we disagree. And so it's
Mm,
very interesting to watch them pick through what's happening. It's like 80% politics, but they do talk about this type of stuff. Like, politics is health. Like, this stuff is all connected. So they talk about this stuff. It's very interesting,
that's cool.
Hysteria. Yeah, yeah, check it out.
Hmm.
Very
Wow.
interesting.
That is
Nice.
cool. I'm gonna totally check that out.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
put it in the show notes too.
Yes,
Um,
Hysteria.
yeah. Do y'all have the brain fog that's
Yes.
Sometimes I actually feel pretty good. Sleep is a thing. Like if I
yep.
don't get tons of sleep, so I need more sleep nowadays. That's absolutely the truth. And if I don't get it, I feel it more. But I'm feeling
Mhm.
pretty good about that stuff. Do you guys have like really
That's
bad
good.
brain fog?
For me, it's really random. It's
Yeah.
like, I'm good, I'm clear, I'm sharp. And then all of a
Yep.
sudden I'm like, did you remember the and that's
Mhm.
the
Yep.
I'll
That's
look
where it
for a
stops. Yep.
word and it's not there. Yeah.
Yep.
I'll
Um,
forget my kids' names. I
Oh
mean,
my God.
not like on a form or where I
Yeah.
have time to think about it, but if I'm just talking and I'm trying to give a direction, I'm like, "Okay, whatever your name is, just do this." And then and I
Oh my
feel
God.
I feel bad, but I'm like, I can't I don't have the recall that I used to have.
mm.
And I blank on words a lot.
Isn't that like a classic, not to minimize, but isn't that like a classic joke that it's like my mother would go through everyone's name before she got to mine, even the
Yep.
dog. Like, yeah,
Mhm.
all right, that's
Mhm.
because perimenopause.
Yeah,
Yep.
sometimes some of these like jokes, I'm like, actually, in hindsight, it's probably just she's going through perimenopause or
Yeah, sorry,
menopause.
mom.
Yeah, sorry, all the moms out there making those jokes. Gosh, it's
So
ridiculous.
I
Yeah.
would imagine because both of you mentioned that you're having anxiety, kind of just like coming out of the blue. How is this and you're both musicians and you're both performers and you're artists. So how is this affecting both what you're creating and your performances?
Ooh. Emily, you want to start?
Or is it?
No. Do you? Just kidding. I will if you want me to.
Whatever you want. Yeah, go
I
for it.
it's been scary, especially because I moved to a big area, and I think there's like an element of that just being a thing because I moved. But it was happening a little before that. I was getting a lot more performance anxiety, and I actually told my therapist this was like an analogy that I had this character, I think, that was me on stage. And I would just like holler into the dressing room in a way and be like, "It's your turn. Come on." And she would saunter out and do the performance. And I've been banging on that fucking door for the last couple years, being like, "Come on." And I just could see her in my mind's eye, just sitting there staring at the door, being like, "No." And so that's a weird way to put that, but that's what it's felt like. It's like I have to do it. I don't know how to do, like, whatever part of me is experiencing this anxiety doesn't know how to access that part of me that just tells a story. It's like going through and then and what did we that's how it feels. And I can see it in videos. It's hard. It's hard. And I coach performers, and I know what it feels like to tap into that person. And sometimes I can't find her, and that's really hard. If I'm in, like Sarah was saying, like clicking into that, my like gut drops and my heart's pounding. Sometimes I am like, I don't know what to do. It's pretty shitty. Heavy. Sarah, what about you?
Oh God, I don't think that explanation was weird at all. I thought it was perfect. I totally feel that, like banging on the door, being like, "All right, the performers, time for you to come out." And honestly, it's been pretty good. I've had moments. Most of the time, it's more of a body fatigue like I really don't want to be on stage, like worried about my
Mm,
face being dry and just kind of like some of that stuff. Or God, in-ear monitors like right now with the itchy ears. Holy shit. It's
yeah.
rough. It's rough. I definitely have probably always had gigs where I was just like slightly out of it. But I will tell you a story. The last Dazzle gig, we did the No Scrubs Waterfalls
Mm-hmm.
little medley thing. And so we started the song. It was like one of the last songs. And we started the song and I was like, listening. I was like, okay, I actually can't remember the rap lyrics right now. I can't. I've done this rap, by the way, so many times. Like the
Yeah.
Waterfalls rap. So I've got it in my back pocket. I was practicing all week. No, it's no problem. It literally, I could do it in my sleep at this point. And so I'm like listening to Bree sing and like going through the verses and the chorus. And I'm like, shit. I seriously cannot remember these lyrics at all. And so she's doing that, like, if you have a car, that part where the buildup is coming, it's like
Yeah.
8
Yep.
bars before I come in, and I'm like, "Fuck, fuck, fuck. I cannot remember these lyrics. Holy shit." And so I got on my phone and I was like Googling the lyrics real quick, like literally 8, like it's like a countdown. And
Yeah.
Daniel's like
Yeah.
watching me, like, "Oh my God, what is going on?" And so
So you're
I was
texting
just,
your friends, like,
yeah, I was like literally in front of like 100 people, like waterfall rap lyrics. And obviously it didn't work. And I was like, whatever. And so, like, just moments, literally the second before, I was like, I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth. And I just kind of opened my mouth and I fucking crushed it. Thank goodness.
Nice.
Thank goodness. It was like flawless. But it just those moments of like, what the fuck am I going to do? Do I introduce a band? Do I just like make some jokes? Like, what do I do right now? And I would just like decide to trust myself and I made it happen. And like Daniel and I joke about it now, but so I tell him this too. I'm just like, if I bombed, like we cannot be joking about this right now. And he's like, oh, I know. We can joke about it because
just
you
let's be
absolutely
clear.
slayed. Yeah, let's be
Yeah.
clear here.
Yeah.
If I bombed that, like I'd probably need some hugs. Like I'd probably be pretty sad about it. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
thank goodness I just trusted myself and I opened my mouth and then just the whole thing just kind of came out. But that panic is not fun. It's not fun, and I've definitely have felt way more like I had way more of a bite, like in my prior years. Starting out just in every single way, like way more of an edge. And now, yeah,
Mhm.
everything. Honestly, the way that I said it before, like everything's kind of soft and round. That's kind of how the whole situation is. Everything's just like soft and kind of foggy and fluffy, and you're like, God, I miss those like you know what I mean? I miss it when it was, like,
Mhm.
hard and edgy and
Hmm.
snatched. I feel so blah. So, that's probably
Yeah.
my biggest struggle is just, like, not wanting to put on a dress, not wanting to put my body on the stage, not wanting to put the heels on. It's, like, more of a physical thing. But that
Mhm.
was that one, like, really, really bad, anxious, brain foggy that was kind of a combo move moment. But,
Mm.
yeah, it's not fun. It's not fun. It's not
Yeah.
f yeah.
But also you crushed it, so congrats. That's
That's
great.
thank you.
I mean,
Thank
yeah.
goodness. I got a little video of it and I just like it's really funny. You can literally see me like look up the thing and Daniel being like, "What is she doing?" And then him being like, "Yeah, let's go." It was really cute. It was kind of a sweet little moment.
Some of it is like that singer life, also because like Sarah's a singer, but her biggest thing is sex, you know. But some of that, oh man, when I was not in perimenopause, I would sometimes come to a verse and be like, "What is this?
Yeah.
Where am I?
Yeah.
Oh shit!" And then I'd open my mouth and the words would come out, and I'm like, "I don't know." But one time, they did not. In all these years of performing, one time I was like and I just turned to the band and I was like, "Do it again. Do it
Do
again."
it again.
That
Yep. Was I on that gig?
Yeah.
Probably.
No.
Oh no,
No,
I wasn't.
no, you were on the one where I didn't recognize the chords at all. And it
Oh
like,
yeah.
all the
Yep.
boys tend to get a little, like, ethereal sometimes, these jazz players, and I remember turning to the keyboard player and going, "I don't know what you're playing."
Yeah.
And
Bart
being like,
modulates a
could you
lot.
just give me an F?
Yeah.
Because I you were on that one. I was like, "We'll keep going till I know where my note is."
Yeah. I do remember that. I remember just watching the whole
Like
thing happen and being like, "So good. I just love you guys
like
so much, and I know you have it handled, so it's fine." So I just enjoy, like, witnessing these moments. I mean, these are
"Play it
human
again,
moments.
Sam, but don't know what's going on."
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
Oh gosh, yeah, yeah. Fun times.
Yep. Well, we really appreciate you coming on and talking with us because like you said, people aren't it I would I mean, I feel people are not talking about this. And they're not
Mhm.
it's like either it's this traumatic like and and we're going through all this or it's like don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thriving. I'm 40. It's hot. Like there's no like sometimes I am a disaster and
Yeah.
Mhm.
sometimes my head itches so bad. So
Yep.
thank you for just talking with us about this and like being a witness to this for people too and being like, yes.
Oh my gosh. Thank you.
Listeners, just so you know, perimenopause usually starts in a woman's mid to late 40s, but it can start as early as mid 30s or earlier. So if you're like, but I'm only 35 and I'm having these weird symptoms, talk to your doctor about it, get that education. Thank God we live in the age of the internet where you can Google freaking anything, but just know you're not losing your mind and you're not weird. It might be perimenopause.
Yes.
Yeah. You might also be weird
And that's
I
and
mean,
okay
have
that's
too.
perimenopause. Yes.
and that's okay too, because we are.
That's the
Yeah,
best. That's
definitely.
the best.
Absolutely.
Sarah Mount, thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank
Sarah.
you, ladies. I appreciate being here.
Honestly, dear listener.
Woo.